Welcome to the Attractive Man Podcast, where we help men become better men. In these episodes, you'll discover how to improve your dating and relationships, how to break through your mental limits that are holding you back, and how to move through life with confidence and purpose. I'm your host, Matt Artisan. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Attractive Man Podcast. Today, I'm with two of our awesome coaches from the Attractive Man. I'm with Lynn and Cal. And we're going to talk about online dating and how to maximize your potential on apps like Tinder. So, what are some of the biggest mistakes that guys make when it comes to Tinder, Bumble, and whatever other apps are out there these days?
Oh, wow. Well, we can start with their pictures. They're definitely, a lot of their photos are very bad quality. Their bio might have too much information or just isn't interesting enough. You can start with that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that people don't put enough emphasis on the photos. Essentially, that's the first thing, that's the first impression, and the biggest impression. It's the first gatekeeper into someone wanting to know more about you. So if you're not really impressing the person that's looking at your profile with your photos, then everything else, doesn't matter nearly as much.
How important are the pictures, particularly the first main picture, compared to the other pictures and compared to the bio, would you say?
Oh, it's essential. It's the make or break part of the entire profile.
Yeah, I definitely, if you don't have a clear picture where we can see you smile or your face, then yeah, you're usually going to swipe left. But also, you're building your social status in these photos, right? So in the other photos, you should be with other friends, other women, doing a certain activity, showing that you have a life, technically, basically,
Do you think that, like you said, social status, that's interesting. So do you think social status in terms of like how high value or how high status you appear is more important than looks, equally as important? What do you guys think?
I think it depends on the girl or the person looking at your profile. It depends on what she's looking for. And of course, there are exceptions to every rule. As a generalization, though, if a girl is wanting something more than just something physical, she's going to be looking that there's more substance to you, or that you're giving a kind of aura or an energy, or she can see what you're about, and it's not going to matter as much as how cute you are. Sure, she wants to be attracted to you, but you don't need to be, some celebrity to win her over. It really depends on what vibe you're giving off and how you're making her feel. So the energy in your photos are very, very important. You can be an average or even slightly below average, but if you have that confidence, if you have that passion in your eyes, you can attract a lot more women than you probably expect.
That's interesting that you mentioned the eyes, because that's something I've been thinking about a lot lately. I used to think it's all about like the status, right? Which I think is conveyed in your eyes, but I always thought it was more about like what I'm doing in the pictures that's gonna like win her over. Like, oh, he's in Egypt, he's traveling, he's been to exotic places, he's, on stage playing guitar or whatever. But what we teach in our boot camps is the look of desire, right? It's one of the things we teach. And how to give her that look. It's almost like a look of confidence and swagger, but also like, I know I could have you. I know I could give you the utmost desire if you're so lucky. And actually conveying that same look through your eyes in your online dating profile. Is that what you're talking about?
Absolutely. I think a lot of people think, oh, as long as I have a photo of me in front of Machu Picchu or something impressive where they're showing off that they're traveling, or a couple of years ago it was petting a tiger, then I'm going to win her over. It's going to look very impressive. And I've actually worked with a private client a couple of days ago. We were going over his Tinder profile, and he was very proud of his photos because his photos were impressive in the kind of accomplishments that he was showing off. But almost in every photo, it looked like he was almost timid. He was holding back. One of the photos, he just ran a marathon and he was holding up his number. And it was like he was making himself look small. So that photo actually was doing him a disservice. I advised him to remove that photo because it didn't show that he was proud. It didn't show that he had that hunger for life. It didn't show that he wasn't afraid to be seen. Yes, I got it. I did it. It was like he was making himself very, like he almost wanted to disappear. And that vibe gives so much to a woman. So I always advise, I rather you have complete presence and complete confidence in the way that your stance and the way that you're looking into the lens versus you doing something just to do it so you can have a photo moment or photo opportunity, which I think is good news for guys because you can take a couple of weeks or just maybe even a few days, a weekend, and just practice. You don't need to go to some exotic destination. Just practice that look, practice those stances, that body language. They convey so much.
I definitely think that it's important to have the right body language and have a good quality photo that like shows your confidence. But at the same time, if we go back to the idea of social proof and status, I think the idea of status for many men, they always think of like doctors or lawyers. And what I've come to know is that every woman I talk to has a different idea of what status is. Like to some women, they are after a doctor, they are after a lawyer, they are after that. Some women aren't. Some women like to party and they're into that vibe. So it's really about presenting what kind of woman you want. Like whatever status and social proof you're presenting, that's what you're gonna get at the end of the day. So you really have to think about that.
I agree. And I think also one thing that is not commonly known is when social proof also conveys in your social friends and in the gatherings and the group photos that you're presenting. The people that you're showing in your photos, they're going to represent you. And the person that's looking at your photos is going to look at who you're hanging out with. Another additional tip is, as a man, if you're going to have photos when in a group setting with other women, that actually heightens your social status because it shows, okay, here's a guy that actually has friends with higher caliber females. He can get them. He's not desperate and eager and has no female friends at all. It actually triggers our competitiveness. It's kind of like I always say it's the rooster and the chickens and the hens, right? We look at these other women like, oh no, okay, I see what we're in for. I'm going after this. It makes them even more attractive.
Yeah, definitely not, Cal, you're probably going to say this, but make sure it's not your ex-girlfriend.
Oh, that too. And I was also going to say, don't make every photo you with a bunch of women, because then that's just going to put off a vibe like, oh, this guy is a player, this guy is just trying to have sex or whatever. And also it comes off more needy if you only have pictures of you and women, because it's like, oh, look, I have women. Instead, like you want to have pictures with your friends, you want to have pictures of you alone, you want to have pictures with women. You want to hit every scenario, right? You want to have a complete life, basically.
I love that, Cal, and I completely agree. What I always like to say is what we just discussed is the photos are the most important, the essential part of representing yourself online and on these dating apps. So you want to put the most emphasis. And when she's scrolling through your photos, you really want to give a visual storybook or storyline of your life. You want to show that you are an interesting guy that is about all different kinds of things and that's complex and that's exciting. If you keep on showing the same image not the same image, but if you keep on showing the same style just in different situations, it gets not only a little bit boring for her, but it also makes it easy for her to sum you up. So for example, if all of your photos are you partying or rock and roll, she's gonna look at your photos, go to and be like, okay, yeah, I can figure him out. I know what he's about. He's a rocker. Next. Or maybe that's what she's about. But you wanna make it very difficult for her to pigeonhole you or to categorize you. And you want to incite that intrigue from her. Like, oh my gosh, he has a photo of him in a suit. There's a photo of him with his friends. There's a photo of him doing something adventurous and athletic, and then there's a photo of him being affectionate with his animals. I can't really put my thumb on it. What is he about? I'm interested now.
You're not Tiger King.
No Tiger King, no Joe Exotic over here.
No Tiger King photos? Those are out? Hey, you can make her laugh with them.
I photoshopped actually my face to a Tiger King photo with Joe Exotic, and I was sending those pictures out.
But that's funny.
It was funny. It was like everyone's watching it, so it triggered people to respond. So
Yeah, it's relevant. Yeah, I think that's a really important, Lynn, is it makes the guy seem more mysterious and more of a multi-dimensional man. Like he's very well-rounded. I like that. I like those examples that you gave. Like one picture, he's wearing a suit. The other one, he's like playing guitar. And then there's one with a dog. And there's one with a baby. And there's one skydiving. And then there's one near the Eiffel Tower. It's like, oh, he does everything. He's into this and he's into that. And I think that definitely makes the guy more interesting. And I think what's also important that you said, that you both touched on, is that concept of status when it comes to your pictures. And a lot of guys, we see a picture of us and we look at the face and we're like, oh, this looks pretty good. I'm going to throw this up there. Or this looks good because I'm with a tiger or I'm traveling or whatever. But we don't think about how we're really coming off. Like, does this picture make you look confident? Because that's going to be way more important versus the tiger or the Eiffel Tower in the background. Is like, do you look confident? I see a lot of guys' pictures where they look kind of closed off, bad body language, or you can just see it in their eyes. They're not really having fun. Like a lot of us, I think guys more than girls, we get very awkward in front of the camera. To me, it seems like girls are always taking pictures and they love taking pictures all the time. I always forget to take pictures even when I'm doing cool things. Like it's just not something that's always on my mind, I think, like a lot of women. So, and I think a lot of guys can relate to that. So oftentimes we get kind of awkward in front of the camera, or maybe not awkward, but we're just not at our most confident self. So I think one thing is just have somebody, a roommate, a friend, snap some pictures of you. If you know a photographer, you can hire a photographer, great. With a DSLR camera, that's going to be your best, but second best would be an iPhone, which is pretty high up there, almost in comparison. And take like 100 or even more pictures. You're probably going to get one good picture out of 100.
Absolutely. And I also want to add to that is the selfie. The question of the selfie,
no,
the infamous...
no selfies.
Yes. So I believe that there's a little bit of a double standard here. I believe that if a guy's looking at a girl's profile and he sees that she has a couple of selfies, he might roll his eyes a little bit, but it's not, for the most part, for most guys, going to be a deal breaker. However, for a lot of girls, if they see a guy with a lot of selfies, or selfies that, especially if the selfies are not flattering, it's a little red flaggish. It can say a couple things. It can say, okay, does this guy not have a social group, any friends or family around him that can take photos for him? Does this guy not have anything exciting going on in his life where the photos that he's putting up online? Because remember, the photos that you're putting up online should be the very best photos that you have ever. So if one of them is just of you looking a little blah in front of the bathroom, that's really the best photo. So again, the girl might think, okay, does he not have anything exciting going on in his life where he has ample photos to choose from and he chose this one? And then the third one is, okay, so maybe this guy's just very self-centered and conceited and just loves taking a lot of selfies. So be careful of the selfies. There are some examples that it can work. Like, for example, if you're doing something really cool and it's obvious that there isn't an opportunity for someone to take a photo, or if you really feel like you look fantastic and you show confidence, there are always exceptions. But for the most part, I would say practice either if you don't have anyone to take photos for you, putting the phone up on something, a bookshelf or a tripod, selfie stick, and using the timer. I think that would look much better than the constant selfies.
Or if you're with a group of friends too, I think that's okay. Like all your friends are like this. But yeah, that's a really good point. I love what you said, that I don't know if word for word now, but you said basically this is the best of your life. Can you repeat that? Do you remember what you said?
Yeah. So when you're putting up these photos on your profile, you're picking and choosing, right? and you're picking and choosing from all the photos that you have of yourself. So they should be the best of the best. And if one of them is an unflattering photo of you doing a selfie, it's like, okay, does this guy not have a very exciting life where the most exciting that he has is a selfie of himself in the bathroom? I don't want to sign up to that. I don't want to be with a guy that this is what his life is about. I want someone that enjoys his life, that's on an adventure, that is having fun. Someone that keeps me on my toes.
That's a good point. So guys, look at your pictures on your Tinder profile or your Bumble or whatever, and ask yourself, are these the best of the best? Are these the best of your life?
What do you guys think about Tinder bios? Because from my point of view, if your photos have enough content and they display that you have like social proof, then your bio doesn't need that much in there. For me, literally all I have is for stalking purposes, and then my Instagram ego at bay. Literally, that's all I have. But some people like to say, oh, I travel, I'm spiritual, I like to play basketball or weight train. I find that that's too much information, and it's just annoying. I've had girlfriends that tell me the same thing, that they're just like, ugh. But what do you guys think?
Here's my take on bios, and then I'd like to hear Lynn's take. So in my experience, when I'm on a Tinder date and I ask the girl, what do you think of my bio? I put something very specific, or I used to, I don't anymore. But I put something very specific that the girl should have recognized, and she's just like, I don't remember, I didn't look at your bio. And like that happened many times. So I do agree that I think the bio is not very important, but it is some valuable real estate, and you could create attraction there. And like what you said, Cal, that most guys just talk about themselves, and it comes off as like, this is all about me, please like me, which is fine to talk about yourself. In fact, you can put some cool things about yourself or cool things that you've done, but I think more of a higher status vibe is going to work much better, where you actually qualify the girl. You say, here's a little bit about me, and here's what I'm looking for. If you don't fit this category, please swipe left, or something like that. I think works.
I
works
completely agree. I believe if your photos are really solid, really impressive, you almost don't even need it to put anything in your profile. You're gonna win her over just like that. Now, if you do decide to put something in your profile, be careful of what you're saying, but more importantly, how you're phrasing it. It can, many times I've been on these apps and I see a guy and he looks okay, like I might be interested. Let me see what else I can find out about him. His profile will either make it or break it. So unless your profile is speaking favorably about who you are and what you're looking for, it's almost better not to have one. And for profiles, I agree with both of you. I think that they should be phrased in a way where they're, so I have 3 tips of the profile. I like to format them in 3 different ways. I like to have a first section, a second section, and a third section. These sections are super short, only 1 or 2 sentences each. And it's the first section is something about you. The second section is something about her. And the third section is something about you guys together. Now, why this works is you want to put something about you because, of course, you want to share what you're about. Something about her, by putting what you're looking for, it's letting her know that you have standards, that you have things that you're looking for, and you're not just swiping yes and accepting anything that comes your way. So it's really unconsciously qualifying her. It's like, oh, okay, I need to check these checklists in order to be with this guy. So that's really important. And the third part of the third section of having something about you guys together, this is a fun, cheeky, cute way of being creative. You want to really set yourself apart. You want to really differentiate yourself. Remember, you are competing with thousands of different profiles. And what this does by creating a third part about us, it shows confidence because you're not scared to be bold and to be maybe cheesy if you want to take it there. That's always cute when you do it boldly. But what it does, that's the most important part of this, is it now paints a visual picture in her mind of her seeing you and her together. And when she can visualize that, it makes the chances of her connecting with you exponentially higher.
That sounds amazing. Do you have an example?
Yes, I just wrote one. I'm helping some clients with theirs. I have to look it up, but it was something like me, stinky. So I do me colon, stinky cheese lover, adventure seeker, and then there was another part, whatever else you're into, and obviously make sure that these are accurate. You love your morning workouts, not afraid of getting your hair wet in the rain, and then whatever else have you. And then us together, being that envious couple everyone rolls their eyes on when we're doing our CrossFit and taking selfies. Now, this is going to attract a very specific girl, but it's fun and it's cheeky. And oh, one more tip. I just read this the other day. Don't be scared to sprinkle in a few emojis here and there. Don't overdo it, don't kill it, but by putting in emojis, it's showing that you're taking this very lightly. You're not being super serious and you're desperate and you're eager to match with someone. You're having fun with it, and it increases the chances of you connecting or you having someone swipe on you by 30%. So I think that's pretty significant.
Yeah, I think it's just visually speaking, the emoji just kind of grabs your attention a little bit. But you said something very key there, which is like, don't take this too seriously. Because if you're on Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, etc., those style of apps, the whole thing is about, this is just fun. I'm just kind of doing this just to see. This isn't serious. I'm not really expecting to meet the woman of my dreams from this. I'm just having fun, maybe get some dates from it. If you're on Match or eHarmony, that's very different. You can talk about yourself. You have much more space on your bio or whatever it's called there, a lot of questions to answer. It's a much more serious platform where you're trying to find, your wife. So the whole like overall attitude and vibe of your profile should be, I'm not taking this seriously, which is why I think Cal's answer, like his bio is just, one line, here's my Instagram, or something like, I'm honestly never on here, follow me on Instagram, can actually work pretty well, because it shows like, hey, come on, this is a joke. I have so many women in my life. I meet women every day. I don't really need this. Because it's like counterintuitive in the sense that just the fact that you're on a dating app is kind of low status, right? So you have to appear high status, even though just the fact that you're on there is kind of low status. So having a bio that's either very short like that, or having something that's like Lynn says, like, this is a little bit about me, this is what I'm looking for. That's what's key, is that, you don't have this long bio. You're just like, I have standards, here are my standards. If you don't meet my standards, sorry.
I find that Tinder is like practicing for texting. At least for me, that's how I look at it. It's so that I practice texting, I learn how to attract someone, get their attention, and escalate, so that when I meet someone in person and I get their phone number, I am successful. I don't just blow it up. But yeah, I don't take Tinder too seriously, and I feel like guys taking it too seriously, those are the guys that get angry when a girl doesn't respond, which is incredibly weird to me, because I know that, like, women, every guy they swipe right to is going to be a match. Like, there's 100 matches in 10 minutes. It's not like there's so much competition there that really, that's why the first text I find is important, because you need to get her attention. That's really what it is. It's you're getting her attention. And then after that, you're going to be building rapport and connecting. But yeah, I find that Tinder shouldn't be taken too seriously, but it's very rare where the first message is so important. But in Tinder, it's very, very important, I'd say.
It's very important.
I want to read a Tinder bio from my friend Jesse. That we just sent this out to our list as an example of something you can write. Strictly reviewing girlfriend applications to get through this coronavirus situation. Must be funny, symptom-free, and wash hands regularly. Some stuff about me. I have toilet paper, food, Lysol, and Mario Party. Jokes aside, if you're not a decent person, there's plenty of thirsty dudes on this app who don't care about personality. Message me if you're symptom-free, and then there's some emojis. But seriously, quarantine and FaceTime, ? So I love what he's doing here, because he's like, a little bit about me, but it's all silly. Toilet paper, food, Lysol, and Mario Party. It's nothing about him, which is basically suggesting I don't need to tell you about me because I'm so awesome. You can see it in my pictures. I don't need to try to impress you. And that is actually very impressive. Plus, it's cheeky, it's funny. And he's also qualifying by saying have a decent personality. If not, there's plenty of thirsty dudes on this app. It's great. By the way, I just went through Jesse's program. He has an online dating program that's really, really good. So I'll put a link down in the description that you can go to that'll give you a bunch of other examples of bios that work really, really well. And he'll give you a bunch of other tips too. So I'll put a link to that. It's he's got a lot of good stuff.
And I think also along the lines of what we've been saying, it's humor goes a long way. So keeping it light and being funny, it's critical. If you can make her smile, make her laugh, you just won her over just a little bit more. So I love that profile, Jesse's. It's a great one.
So in summary, keep your bio very simple, short and sweet.
Oh, and don't qualify yourself on there. Don't go on and pick me because I am successful. I have 2 planes and I have an MBA, and that just shows that you're trying to grovel and you're begging for her to select you. And you don't need that. Like Jesse's example was great in that, listen, there are tons of other thirsty dudes that not going to care about your personality, but if you're cool, let's figure it out.
No bragging on your profile because it's just going to come off as douchey, and try hard, like Lynn said. So you can say a little bit about yourself, like I love to do such and such. I mean, I have some cool things about me, but I don't put them on there. I don't say how many countries I've been to or, some of my accomplishments. It's much better to have that be conveyed through your pictures.
Yes, showing, not telling.
All right, what about the first message? What are some horrible first messages that you've seen, Lynn, and some great first messages that you've used, Cal?
So I don't know why it's we need to inform more people to let go of the hi and how's it going? Happy Wednesday, happy hump day. Plans this weekend? What'd you do this week? Please, guys, no. Again, let me help you kind of get into the mindset or in the shoes of what a woman's going through when she's opening these messages. Just like Cal referenced, she is probably connecting with hundreds of guys. She's getting so many messages. And I would say probably 80% of the messages that I have in those apps are, hey, how's it going? If a girl is truly going to respond with 100% effort to every single message or person she's connected with that's asking her how's it going, and she's truly answering it like, oh, it's going well, I'm feeling a little bit of anxiety because of what's going on with politics in the world, but I think I'm okay. I'm having a pretty decent day. My mom's doing well, which is good because she just fell and broke her arm, but yeah, I'm excited. If she were really to answer it the way that you're trying to get her to connect with you deeply, times 100, 200, however many messages she has, she wouldn't have time to sleep. It would be more than a full-time job. So the messages that are going to entice her to respond are the messages that are going to be fun for her to either read or to respond to. So this is when you want to be the most different. This is when you've already gone through, you've impressed her with either your photos and or your profile. Now you got to get her attention with the first message. It's critical.
When it comes to the first message, honestly, I hate that question. Part of me hates it just because it reminds me of when a guy asks me, what do I say? Like, what's the first line I should say when I approach a girl? And it doesn't really matter because after you say it, you have to have a conversation and you have to move the conversation forward. But with Tinder, like I said earlier, it's a bit more important because you need to get her attention. That's literally it. You just need to get her attention. I actually don't have like a go-to line that I go to because I find if I have a go-to line and I just send a mass text to everybody, then it's only going to hit like a certain target. While if I just look at someone's profile and I'm like, okay, this person does like stripping or something, or like, oh, this person does this or that, then I'll try to make a funny comment based on what I see. But I don't ever send a message unless I feel like sending it. So if I get a Tinder match and I see her profile and I'm like, oh, this is interesting, but I can't think of anything to say in the moment, I don't worry about it. I just put it to the side and I have her in my head. I'm like, oh, she does this, she does that. And then while I'm going out through my day, something funny will come up and I'll send her a first message or whatever. But Yeah, I don't like that question. Also, most of the time I steal Matt's steal Matt's openers, like want to rob a bank or something, and it works pretty well. Those are like my last resort. But yeah, what do you think, Matt?
I like that, like custom tailing it to her. Although if you're messaging lots and lots of women, that's a little difficult. But I think in a sense, you're more likely to get a reply if it's custom tailored, yet also stands out. If it's just like, I like that you're into surfing. That's cool, you know. That's custom tailored to her if she has a surfing picture, but it's not really gonna really be that interesting. So, and I like that you just kind of like let it simmer for a while, because then you might have good ideas that just come to you. I personally like the copy and paste. I'm all about efficiency. So even if it takes a while, hold on, I'm gonna pull up something. Yeah, so I'm all about efficiency, even if like I send the same message to 50 girls, and I only get, let's say, 10 replies, but that copy and paste only took me like a minute or two. That is pretty efficient. I got, 10 replies in a minute or two.
I'm with you. And I just found out that if you're using a generic text, not a good one, copy and paste, but a generic one like, hey, how's it going? I just found out that this is a little bit depressing, but we want to tell you the truth. To every 113 messages, first messages that you send out, you will probably get one response. So I'm with you, Matt. I'm all about efficiency. I think that it's a numbers game. I think that something that Cal said earlier about using Tinder as practicing your messaging and your banter and your back and forth, I'm all about that. So the advice that I like to give most of my clients is swipe yes on a lot of people, even people that you may not be someone that you normally would go after, because it's a numbers game and it's a great opportunity to just practice connecting, practice different types of chemistry and connection with different types of people. And when you're swiping yes on a lot of people, to take time and customize it would take a huge amount of effort. I think that if something in her profile or her bio or her photo stands out, then absolutely yes, say something. But if you're really customizing every single one, it might take a lot of time. I'm all about the one-liners. One Matt that you have, which I love, is you're not crazy, right? That's a great one because she needs to qualify. She needs to either address it, confirm it, or deny it. But one that I love, and I give this one to my clients a lot, is your pics say quite a lot, Lynn, or whatever her name is. Your pics say quite a lot, blank. And why that works is because we're human beings. We all want to know what other people think of us.
What does that mean? Your pics say a lot of good, a lot of bad.
What are you saying, right? And so that's really going to get her attention. Another one is, hey, I might be wrong, but you look like someone worth getting to know. Now that's a little bit of push and pull, right? Because it's like, I'm kind of interested, but I haven't quite decided yet. So if you copy and paste those, it doesn't really matter what her bio says, what her pictures say. That's very efficient. So that in terms of a numbers game, that's my favorite. If something does pop out at you and stand out, or let's say that you've been to some really obscure restaurant in Kiev in Ukraine, and you're swiping in the US, and you're like, oh my gosh, you've been to that restaurant in Kiev? I did too. So of course, make that more customized.
One that I like that I've used, it kind of is the best of both worlds because it's really easy to send out, really short, but it's also totally customized, is just using her name, and that's it. And I got this from Josiah, one of our trainers, Josiah, when we were in St. Petersburg. That was his opening message. He got so many matches. He had long hair at the time, and the Russians just love guys with long hair, apparently. He did way better than me. And his message was just her name. Nothing else after that, just her name. I think he had a period at the end. I don't know if the period matters. I've also tried it with just the name ... and that's it. It actually works. It works pretty well.
I can see that totally.
I'm not really sure why, I guess, because it's like you see your name, right? It stands out. If you're looking at all these messages, like imagine you're a girl, you have hundreds of messages. Imagine you have 100 messages a day. I don't know if girls actually get that many, but maybe they do. 100 messages a day. They do. There you go. 100 messages a day. What's going to stand out? If you see your name, it's going to stand out. Right? Beautiful, hey baby, that's not going to stand out. That's what every other guy is doing. Another one that's worked really well for me is just want to hear a secret, question mark.
That's good.
They always say, yeah, what's the secret? And then the follow-up that I use is I kind of have a crush on this girl and then I describe her. So I've gotten a reply back, so now it becomes customizable. So I look at her pictures and kind of describe her. I kind of have a crush on this girl who loves surfing and has blue eyes, but shh, S-H-H-H-H-H, don't tell her. That works pretty good because then it's a role play. And then what I use in Asia that works pretty well is, don't be mad, but are you a ladyboy?
Do they get offended when you ask that?
Oh yeah, they get offended, which it's a compliment. I mean, the ladyboys usually look more attractive than, which is sad. Yeah, so that works pretty well.
Yeah, because you're emotionally triggering them and you're getting their attention, so they're definitely going to respond, right? And then after that, you just build rapport. After you do the first message, like, what is the purpose of Tinder? Like, are we trying to, like, especially like during the corona, for example, are we trying to get them on like video chat? Are we trying to get them on Instagram? Like, what's the end goal here? Because I find that a lot of guys don't have an intention when they're messaging girls on Tinder, and they're kind of just like having a conversation and it doesn't go anywhere. The girl gets bored. And I find that if you're on Tinder, you're not even a human being until you're off Tinder. So once I get her on text, once I get her on Instagram, then I'm a real person in her life. But before that, I'm kind of just like this guy on this site that's just like messaging her.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think the goal of Tinder is to get her off of Tinder as soon as possible, which for me is usually the second or third message. No more than that. It's not about having a conversation. I mean, think about it. You're a high value guy. Always have that mindset. You're high status. Is a high status guy going to be talking back and forth on Tinder forever? No, he knows he's awesome. He's going to get her off of Tinder. He knows she's attracted. If she writes back, there's some interest there. You can probably get her phone number or get her on another platform like Instagram or Facebook. And Instagram, Facebook, and obviously texting it has the same capability as Tinder in that you're messaging back and forth, but you're in a different category now. That's the point. You're putting yourself into a closer, more intimate category. Like texting, she probably only texts friends and guys she's interested. Friends, family, and guys she's interested. If you're on Instagram, I mean, it maybe is a little bit more broad than that. But the point is, it's not just every horny guy in the world anymore. Unless she's an Instagram model and she has 100,000 followers, that's a little different.
I try to bring girls into my Instagram profile because one, I'm active on Instagram. Two, I have like high quality photos. I build my status on Instagram. They kind of tell what my personality is like. And I also share stories all the time. And it allows me to maintain relationships without having to constantly message someone. Because once you have like an active sex life and you actually have women around you, you can't be like messaging them on your phone constantly. You wouldn't be doing anything else. So I find that Instagram is a really good way to like have some kind of connection without getting too deep and having to just message them all the time.
I completely agree, and I also want to really highlight and share that Instagram, unless your Instagram is in really good shape, unless you're really proud of it, you put photos that you're proud of and it is a very good representation of the kind of image that you want to share, do not connect it to your Tinder or Bumble or whatever profile, because a girl might look at your photos, she might be like, okay, maybe I can see it. His profile's okay, maybe I'm feeling it. And now she's on your Instagram and she sees a different image of you or something that's not very impressive. It might completely turn her off. Instagram is a very convenient way and much deeper way to see what guys are really about, because a lot of the times we'll try to show off and flex on Tinder and Bumble, and then their Instagram is totally opposite, and so it will completely turn her off. But if your Tinder is impressive and you're putting time into it, making sure that you have very flattering photos, that you're putting out stories, then absolutely connect and absolutely get her on your Instagram, just like Cal said.
Do you actually think, this is interesting, I never actually thought about this. Do you think it's actually a bad idea to connect your Instagram, even if you have a good Instagram, just because then she'll want to see more, right? It's like your Tinder account, your pictures got her attention, and now she's like, oh, interesting. And then you invite her to Instagram, and then she's gonna be like, okay, yeah, I want to see more of him. Let's see what he's really like. So maybe it's just a bad idea not to even connect it.
I think it's like Lynn said though, if you have like a good Instagram, then you should definitely connect it. Like I've had girls message me through Instagram because I have my notifications off on Tinder. And they just like, or like, you haven't messaged me on Tinder, and they just go on my Instagram. So I find if you have a solid profile, the way I look at my Tinder is it's like the most updated version of my Instagram. And it's just like the peak of my Instagram, and they go through Tinder to get to my Instagram. That's how I look at it. And I just find Instagram is such a good way to navigate the social atmosphere. Like, women are all active on Instagram, at least most women, and if you're posting content, especially on your stories, it's a really good way to grab their attention. Like, I don't even send first messages. I just know that I have girls that like memes. I have girls that like my fitness stuff. I have girls that like my talks. And I post all that content on my stories, and women will respond to whatever triggers them. Like, oh, I like this fitness stuff. Oh, I like this spiritual talk that he's having. I like whatever it is. These memes are funny, and they'll respond to it. So it's just like, it's a machine. You just oil it.
Yeah, and it also gives them more opportunity to connect and to contact you. Maybe they won't for the first couple of days, but then as you keep on putting out content, something like Cal said is going to resonate with her, or give her an opportunity to make a comment about something that you're putting out. But Matt, to your question, I would only connect it if it is truly impressive, because on a lot of these apps, you only have 6 or so photos to capture you. And if you really take pride in your Instagram and the photos that you're taking, you're going to be hungry to show a little bit more. So I have one client that's an amazing traveler, and he's really good at capturing the moment. And it's sad because you can't really do that so much on Tinder and Bumble. So when he connects his Instagram, it makes him look even more attractive.
So it's like your Tinder or Bumble is just a snapshot of your life, just to get her interested, to move her over to social media, Instagram, which is going to show her more and get her more interested, which I think is a better strategy than going straight for a phone number. Although if you can get a phone number, that's higher compliance, I think, than social media, right? Because less people probably have her phone number than are following her on social media, right? Or that she's following. So if you can get her phone number, great. But I think a better strategy is start small, work your way up. So the next step from Tinder would be Instagram, and then make sure your top 6 pictures on Instagram are your best, because that's what she's going to see. She might scroll through, but I mean, I have, 600 pictures. She's not going to look at 600 pictures. She's going to look at the top few rows. So maybe the top 10, 12 at the most. So make sure those are solid pictures of you. The same criteria that you would use for putting pictures onto your Tinder or Bumble should be used for putting pictures on your social media, on your Instagram. And then from Instagram, it's great because then, like Cal said, she's like in this funnel. She's in this system, right? You can message her right there, but if she doesn't reply, it's no big deal because you're sending stories. You're updating your profile, and she can comment or she can message you based on something that you posted. I would say, and then from there, send her a voice message, right? Instead of texting, instead of just going back and forth texting, the great thing about Tinder is you can send a voice message, and then from voice message, you can get her on the phone, or you can try to set up a date through voice message or through text.
Yes, I was just going to say that is be careful of not falling into the trap of there are a good number of women that want followers on their Instagram. So they might have their IG, their Instagram handle on their profile, and they might do this because they want to connect with you on Instagram. They might do it because they want more followers. But I've had a lot of guys that have contacted me on Instagram and say, hey, we didn't match on Bumble, but I saw your Instagram. How's it going, right? So it's giving them an opportunity to connect. Now, here's what you can do to kind of decide or to figure out if she's genuinely looking to connect with you or if she's just looking for more followers, is have your profile on private. If she requests to follow you back, you know that she's genuinely interested. If she doesn't, she probably is just looking for another follower. So make sure that you're aware of her intentions. Is she really looking to connect, or is she looking for more people? The other thing is, just like Matt said, I love this, is, message her on Tinder or Bumble and say, hey, what's your Instagram? Add her, see if she adds you. She needs to see if your profile is private. Once she does, leave her a voice note. You can do that on Instagram. It's on the messaging feature. Once you do, you leave her a voice note. She'll either leave you a voice note back, or she'll text you back, or she won't message you back at all, which is fine. She's qualified herself. Move on to the next one. But let's say she messages you back on Instagram, then you can leave her another voice note and say something like, okay, enough of this kiddie play. What's your phone number? I want to start getting to know you. Right? And that shows so much confidence. Now you are directing your journey with her, and a woman wants that. A woman wants a man to show that he's interested in a way that's not desperate and eager. That's just like, listen, you're cute. I think I'm interested in you. Come on, let's figure this out.
One thing that I would say though is I would not add a girl on Instagram, like, because I have my Instagram on my bio. It says for stalking purposes and then my Instagram. But I don't expect them to add me based off my bio. I actually don't expect anyone to even look at my bio. But as I'm like escalating in the text message or on Tinder, at one point I'm just like, do you have Insta? And I just said, I send my Instagram and I say add me, and I just leave it. And then 2 minutes, even less sometimes, they'll just add me on Instagram, and then I'll message them directly there. And then from Instagram,
I like that because it shows a lot of confidence. It's like, hey, ball's in your court, make a move. If not, I don't care. Again, it's that attitude, like, I don't really care. I'm online dating. I'm doing Tinder for a joke, kind of. It's not your main source of meeting women.
Yeah, and you can also, like, you can have a phone call, definitely, but if they're active on Instagram, I go on video chat all the time now, especially during Corona. Literally, I'll get them from Tinder straight to Instagram, and then 2 minutes, I'll just message them, hey, they'll message, hey, back. I'm like, okay, they're online. I'll just hit the video chat. 2 out of 3 times, they'll be on there. They'll be like, ha, oh my God, like, I didn't have my makeup on, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, it's fine. I know what a beautiful woman looks like. It's totally fine. And then you just talk, and you go through it. And even if they don't accept the video chat, you just like change the subject, and they'll be like, oh, sorry, I was in the shower. And then they'll be like 10 minutes and they'll video call you. So as long, you want to be leading the whole interaction. Like, I definitely think you can ask for the Instagram, but I think that will kind of bring you down a little bit and slow you a bit down. But yeah.
These are great strategies. I love this. Yeah, I mean, these are things I'm going to start doing because I don't have my profile private on Instagram. I have it public, so I might try that. Cal, do you have yours as private or public? I'm just curious.
I actually don't mind, because what I notice is that women will share my profile with other women. And sometimes that is a good thing. Like, if someone wants to have like a threesome or something and they want to show what my profile looks like, they'll send it through that. I had a girl tell me, like, I had actually a few girls tell me, like, oh, I showed you to my mom. And I'm like, cool. And she said,
did you have a threesome with her mom?
No, but I'm trying. But yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, well, I like the attitude, like the ball's in your court. Hey, so do you say follow me on Instagram, or do you say specifically, hey, send me a message on Instagram? Like, what's your actual way of transitioning from Tinder to Instagram?
It depends on how good the conversation is, but usually I will literally just say, you have Insta, and even if it's on her bio, I'll ignore it. I'll say, you have Insta ? And then I'll just say add me, and then I'll just send my Instagram, and that's it. I don't make assumptions like, oh, she might say no. I just, in my head, I'm like, this is normal. This is very normal. This is how people connect. How am I gonna get to know you? We're not gonna just get on the phone. I need to see what you look like, what your stories are like, what you're into.
So you say have Insta, and then you just write your Insta.
Yeah, you got Insta ? And then add me, and then ego at bay. Yeah.
Nice. I like that.
I like that because it also shows that you're not obsessing over her profile. Because, if someone that was like, oh my gosh, I'm all about you, I'm all into you, I read your profile 5 times, I know you have Instagram because you're on your profile. No, you're like, listen, I'm matching with a lot of women. I don't have time to keep reading your profile. I don't remember if you put it on your profile or not. Do you have it or not? If you do, have it, add me on here. So that's good.
And just like how a business can see like insights on how people are sharing your content, you can literally see that the same way in a personal level. Like, okay, I posted this new picture. How many are people sending it out? I can see insights and I can see how many people sent this photo. I'm like, I posted it yesterday. 7 people sent this to people. What the hell? Like, why? Why?
Yeah, you should. You're on my Instagram. Why are you not like liking my stuff
I'm
more?
not,
You know,
I'm not,
comment.
not active. I haven't been in like a month.
What I love about Instagram is that you can see, like you said, Cal, you can see who's checking you out, especially on stories. I don't know if you can do that on posts. I haven't checked. Do you know?
With posts, you can see insights. So you can see how many people are sending it as a message, how many people are commenting, how many people viewed the photo or the video. So there's a lot of stuff you can
particularly
base
you
it
want to
off
see
of.
who is actually checking it out. But I guess you can see the comments, obviously. But with stories, what I love about stories is you can see who is watching all of your stories. So you can just, check it out and you say, oh, the same girl is watching all of my stories. Wow. So she's obviously a fan. And when you go for the date, I mean, with somebody who's checking out all your stuff, she's a lot more likely to say yes. And when you actually are on the date with her, she's going to be pretty interested in you because she's one of your diehard fans pretty much.
Another thing that I want to point out is Instagram. What you can do is when you add a girl on your Instagram, she probably has thousands of people she's following. So you want to make sure that your stuff pops out. And to do that, add her to your close friends list. It's super easy. Just add her to that list, and basically anything you post, she'll see it. And in her head, she'll be like, oh, he added me to his close friends list. And usually they'll add you to theirs. And that's where you'll see a lot more content, like content that they would consider private, right? So, and they would feel closer to you, even though you didn't say anything. It feels you're a little more connected. So
they know that you add them to your close friends? Because I've never added anybody to my close friends list.
Yeah. Once you add them to your close friends list, and once you post a story that's to your close friends list, it'll be a green circle around your photo. So they would be like, oh, okay. And they're more likely to click the green one versus the regular one because they usually will see their close friends more. So, yeah.
Another Instagram tip that I just heard, I haven't actually used this, but on your stories, you can obviously save your stories in your highlights, but when you have a new follower, let's say you just meet this girl from Tinder, you can send her those stories. I don't mean send them individually as a message. I mean, there's a feature, I'm not sure if you know this feature, but you can have her watch like your best stories. So let's say you have a story that just makes you look super awesome, another one that makes you look high status, another one that shows you're traveling, like these are your best stories. And they get a lot of women replying to those stories. You want to keep using them. So every time you add a new girl, you send her those stories. That way you create content once and you keep repurposing it instead of always having to create new content, which is awesome.
Yeah, I have my stories, and I have like ones maybe for just my workouts. I have ones where I have a talk. And if I have something that triggers me, so like she's talking about something, a certain workout maybe, and it reminds me of my story, I might just send her a snippet which is connected to the rest of my stories. But once she clicks that, she's gonna be forced to watch all of them, but she can exit. But if it's impressive and she keeps scrolling through, she's gonna be like, oh, I like your cat. Oh, I saw your cat. I'm like, oh, that's way deeper into the story. How did you get there? It's because she kept watching, right? So
like a few minutes, like stalking you basically.
Exactly.
I like that. Any other Instagram tips? So basically get her from Tinder to Instagram, send her those stories, and which is great because I've noticed, I mean, obviously when you're just texting somebody, they can fall off the radar. You never know what's going on in the girl's life. She could be on Tinder, but then she gets a boyfriend, maybe from Tinder, or she gets back with her ex-boyfriend and she just stops texting you. You never got on a date with her, and months go by and you've forgotten about her. And it's just kind of weird to send a text, months later. I mean, it's okay, you can, but it could be years later. But if she's following you on social media, then a year later when she breaks up with that guy, she might message you and be like, oh, haha,
Yes.
your cat photo is so funny. And then boom, the conversation is started again when that wouldn't have happened through text message. I went on a date with a girl one time. We hooked up, and then 4 years later, I went back to that same city. And I hadn't talked to her. I hadn't texted her, no communication in 4 years. But I went back to that city, I messaged her, and we met up, and she knew like everything about me. She's like, oh yeah, I saw that you went here, I saw you went there, you did this. Because of social media. That would have never happened through text. If I would have just sent her a text and she didn't follow me on social media, she probably would have been like, oh yeah, that guy, oh yeah, 4 years ago. Well, this will be a little awkward meeting him 4 years later. But with social media, it seemed like no time had passed at all, at least for her.
I find social media just amazing for maintaining relationships without having to put like 100% effort, because when you're texting, the content is in the text message, while on Instagram you're sharing it with so many different people, and whoever wants to connect with you will connect with you. But yeah, I find it super interesting, like group chats, for example. Like women are way better at social media than men. We can all agree on that. On Instagram, I try to learn how they use Instagram, and I just do the same thing. Whatever they do, they're not going to find it weird if you do it. But what they use is group chats. Group chats are amazing. Like if you have like a girlfriend and she has a bunch of friends, and maybe you're open and you can talk to all of them, whatever, you can have them all in a group chat and they're talking to each other. And then when you want to come in there, you can talk as well. But you don't have to continuously stimulate the conversation. But they're stimulating the conversation. And then when you find something funny, maybe someone says something funny, you can message them privately about that message, right? So it's just a great way to just like not have to maintain it yourself and just have other people maintain relationships for you. That's something new I'm trying.
There's so many possibilities with social media. But my favorite is that one piece of content, potentially all the girls, or at least a lot of the girls that are following you or that you're messaging, that you're talking to, can see it. Versus texting is just one person is going to see what you sent. So you can just really stay on their radar for a long time. And even, not only that, just keep building the interest and attraction. It's almost like the longer time goes by, the more interested they're going to be because they keep seeing your content.
Absolutely. And something else that you touched on is, let's say that you connected on Tinder or Bumble or one of those dating apps and you didn't meet, or something happened, she got a boyfriend, you got a girlfriend, but you stayed in touch, at least through that. You saw each other's stories, you commented here and there. If one day one of you breaks up or you both happen to be single, who do you think she's more likely to go to someone new that she hasn't really connected with and had a good conversation with, or someone that she's maybe followed for 3, 6 months, a year, and she feels like she knows a lot better, and there's so much more substance that she can connect on. She feels like she actually knows you, she's impressed with you. So it's a good way of staying in touch too with potential people in the future.
Yeah, I like that. It's like you go for the short strategy, right? Try to get her on your social media, go for the date quickly. But if that doesn't work out, it's like she's in the funnel now, and it might happen 3 months from now, might even happen 3 years from now, but she's still there. Whereas with texting, it just dies after a while. So use the Tinder, Instagram strategy because it works.
It's very true though about how like people that you haven't talked to in years, because they're still watching your content, the day they get out of a relationship, you guys are back and connected. So that's one thing I love about Instagram is when I approach in like real life, I usually go for the Instagram and not a phone number anymore. I switched that probably 3 years ago and my results have skyrocketed. I find that I have more connections that stay around, while before it was kind of just like, like, okay, next number, next date. So
I do a similar thing. I get their Instagram first. I say, are you on Insta? And they almost always say yes, because just about every woman is on there now. And I put their Instagram in my contact app. I don't just follow them right away, right there. I just get their Instagram on my contact app. And then I say, oh, put your number too. So then I'm following them. They usually follow me back, but then I message them through regular SMS because regular SMS is more intimate than on Instagram. But if it falls away on SMS, she's still there. She's still in the funnel on Instagram. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. By the way, guys, if you want Lynn to personally help you one-on-one and review your dating profile, your online profile, and review your pictures and tell you which pictures are great, which pictures are working for you, and which pictures are pushing women away that you need to eliminate, and what kind of pictures you need to go out and take, as well as critique your bio and your first messages that you're sending out, help you craft a new bio and a much better first message, then make sure to click the link in the description. I'm gonna put a link for a full profile online dating makeover with Lynn, because having not just a woman, but a female dating coach who's an expert at online dating review your profile is absolutely invaluable. So take advantage of that and check out that link in the description. And listen, guys, if you want to be trained by myself, Lynn, or Cal, then make sure to check out our bootcamp schedule. We'll put a link down in the description, and also hop on a free breakthrough call with one of our team members to see if you qualify for live coaching, and we'll also give you a ton of value on that call. That link is also in the description. Make sure to subscribe to this channel for more dating tips, and click that bell notification icon, because we have a lot of awesome videos coming your way, including in-field video breakdowns. We're actually approaching live women and breaking down the entire interaction. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at MattArtisan and send me a DM. I would love to chat with you. And leave a comment down in the description. Let us know what you thought of this video, maybe other things that have worked really well for you when it comes to online dating, so you can help other guys out, because we can all learn from each other. Or things that you're struggling with when it comes to online dating or any style of dating, and we can make a video about that. My name is Matt Artisan with Cal and Lynn from the Attractive Man team, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.